At the age of 25, I was taking home over $100,000 a month in my social media marketing agency, living in Colombia, working only a few hours every single week. And just a year prior to that, I was $10,000 in debt, living in my dad's basement, applying for law schools. And this video is gonna walk you through exactly how I went from law school dropout to a multiple seven-figure advertising agency in just a few years. What's going on, guys? If you're new to the channel, my name is Ravi Abuvala, founder of Scaling with Systems, where we build profitable client acquisition machines for our clients. But way before Scaling with Systems, there was another company, my first company, called Prospect Social, which was an advertising agency where I service real estate agents, getting them booked appointments and new closed deals for their business. Now, when I was doing the research before I shot this video, I was looking at a bunch of other videos. I talked about their social media marketing agency and making all of this money and how they did it. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of great videos out there, but they were incredibly technical. It was typically just like an hour-long, almost webinar presentation where they covered Google Slides and they were showing what kind of Facebook ads you should be running and what kind of targeting you should be running. And let me just say right now, this is not that type of video because none of that stuff really matters. What actually matters is the overarching concepts behind building a massively profitable social media marketing agency and then removing yourself from it so that you can actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video here. To keep it as simple as possible for you, I'm going to break down into multiple sections what I think attributed to the success, the way that I was making over $1 million a year at the age of 25 without any previous experience. And you'll be able to follow along and learn what were some of the mistakes that I made that you can avoid and what were some of the successes that I did that you can implement immediately. So first things first, the main reason it came down to was the offer. Of course, I didn't start a social media marketing agency and I was wildly successful from day one. I was doing a bunch of different things for a bunch of different people, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And when I finally nailed down the offer, who I was helping and what exactly I was doing for them, I was able to absolutely take off my business. When we structured our new offer, the way that I'm going to break it down for you here, we literally went from $10,000 a month where I'd been stuck at for over 8 months to over $50,000 a month in 30 days. We literally 5x the business in 30 days after implementing the new offer. And that's how important the offer is, which is why we're starting with it first. So when I first launched my advertising agency a few years ago, it was cool and it was easy to say, hey, I get you guaranteed leads. I get your name, email, phone number. Maybe if you're lucky, it was a long form lead where you include a few more pieces of information in there. But most of the time you're saying, hey, I guarantee leads for you. And that's what everybody else did. And they were making a decent living from it. But I didn't want to make a decent living. I wanted to make it so that people were literally begging to work with me, because when you have that kind of demand, you can be much more selective with who you work with. You can charge more money and it's easier for you to outsource or remove yourself from the company at that point. In addition to that, usually a better offer means you have more success for your clients. And when you have more success for your clients, you feel better about yourself and you're able to stay in this game a little bit more long-term than a lot of the people that just churn and burn through clients because none of them are seeing any real tangible results. For me specifically, I was offering leads for real estate agents. That's what I was getting them. Name, email, phone number from Facebook lead forms that I was generating online. And I was having some success with my clients and a lot of them were not seeing success and they were asking me for refunds. And way before any other company offered this, I started thinking to myself, okay, the reason why these real estate agents are not getting new closed deals is not because the leads are crappy like all of them are saying. The reason why is because they are simply not calling these leads enough to convert them into booked appointments and thus close deals. I actually used to secret shop my clients, and when I generated them leads, I used to call the leads myself and say, hey, this is just a quality assurance call. I wanted to see if XYZ client called you and asked you about buying or selling a home in the Destin, Florida area. And they would always say, you're the first person to ever reach out to me. So that let me know that although my clients are saying these leads are crap, in reality, they weren't even reaching out to the leads in the first place. So how are they going to turn them into booked appointments and to closed deals? And of course, I had two options at this point. I could sit there at every client and say, no, it's your fault. You should call the leads. You should call the leads. It's not my fault. But then you realize that no one's ever going to take responsibility and say it's their fault. So instead, I flipped it around and I said, okay, I'm going to make sure my clients get results by charging them more, but ensuring they're going to get booked appointments instead of just leads. And that's exactly what I did. Way before any other company offered it, I included what's known as an inter-service agent team, so an ISA, that was based out of the United States that would call the leads as soon as I generated them from Facebook, and they would call them 8 to 12 times over the next 5 days and qualify the ones that were good, and then book them on the calendar for my real estate agent clients. All of a sudden, I went from charging $1,500 a month to $2,500 a month. It only cost me $500 a month to outsource this inter-service agent team to a company in the United States. So I was netting $500 a month more, and on top of it, I was getting clients that were getting more successes, and they were renewing their contract with me longer, and they were referring more business over to me. Literally, this one simple tweak took us from $10,000 a month just to $50,000 a month in 30 days alone. And that's because while everybody else was offering guaranteed leads, I started offering guaranteed booked appointments because I knew how many leads I had to generate to get the booked appointments and what our conversion rate was from lead to booked appointment. So I just baked that into the price, and I was netting, totally removed from the company, like I said, working just a few hours a week. I was netting $1,000 a month from every single client we signed up, and I was charging them $2,500 a month. I cannot stress how important the offer is, and it will literally make or break your business. If you find yourself in a social media marketing agency and you are working so hard to sell people in there and every month is just an absolute grind, before you look at generating more leads or getting better at sales, take a few steps back and look at your offer, as that might actually be where the problem is, because in reality, it's not hard-earned money. If you can get the offer down right, people will be begging to work with you. The final thing I want to say about the offer is that it will only work if you're niched down, okay? So I'm not going to go too crazy into choosing a niche and why it's important in this video here, but you have to understand that in order for you to make a ridiculous, insane, unbelievable offer, you have to really understand one industry, what their pain points are, and really how you can help them. And for the offer, which is probably going to cost you more money to even work, you're going to probably have to do what's known as economies of scale, which means you're going to probably have to have a lot of clients using that same offer for you to be profitable inside of it. And all of that is solved if you niche down early. So I went from helping dentists, chiropractors, multi-level marketing people, real estate agents, mortgage officers, to literally just helping real estate agents alone. And that was the reason why I was able to, in the next few steps here, remove myself from the company as we started scaling. All right, so at this point, my social media marketing agency is scaling rapidly. I have new people coming to me without me really doing a whole lot of work, and we're growing, but I'm doing all of the lead generation myself, I'm doing all of the sales myself, and I'm doing all of the fulfillment myself. So although we were making a lot of money, I was making a lot of money and working a lot of hours, which was not the whole reason I got in this business in the first place. Which brings us to the second thing you need to do, which is to build a client acquisition machine. So before I built this client acquisition machine, every single morning I'd get up at 5 a.m. From 5 to 8 a.m. I'd be doing cold emailing. From 8 to about 6 or 7 p.m. I'd be taking sales calls. And then from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. I'd be doing fulfillment for the people that I just closed. As you can see, this wasn't really sustainable, but I didn't want to slow down. One of the reasons why I've gotten to where I am today in my businesses is because I've literally done lead generation every single day for over 3 years. And so I knew that in order to keep this trend going, I would have to continue the amount of new customers, new leads, new booked appointments that we were getting for our company every single day. In order to do that, I had to remove myself from that process. And that's an issue that a lot of people do when they're trying to scale their, social media marketing agencies or whatever other company they have right now, is if they don't work that day, they are not getting paid. And I knew that was not a scalable way to make this happen. So one of the first things that I actually did was I hired a virtual assistant. I hired someone overseas. I only had to pay them a few dollars an hour. That person's actually still with me today. And they would spend their entire day doing cold emailing, cold Facebook message, cold LinkedIn message, and cold Instagram messaging to real estate agents that were qualified around the United States and get them booked on my calendar. That immediately did a few things for my company. Number one, I wasn't working so many hours every single day. Number two, what I could only devote 1 or 2 hours a day for, this person was devoting 6 to 8 hours a day for, so they were getting more results from what they were doing before. And number three, because I had someone that was able to focus on it full time, they were actually more efficient than when I was trying to cram everything into 2 hours and I couldn't actually work on my craft. Actually, at the beginning of this video, when I said that I was taking home $100,000 every single month, that was just with me and one virtual assistant. They were doing the lead generation and the fulfillment, which I'm going to talk about here in a moment. and I was doing sales calls and client management. And that is what happens if you follow what I'm talking about here correctly. Now, when we're talking about lead generation and client acquisition machine building, I have literally dozens of videos on my YouTube channels on how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, how to create cold emails, and you can check out the links in the description down below, or just check out my channel. I go more in depth in there. But the idea that you need to understand here is that if you are generating all the leads for your company, there's no way you're going to be able to scale. So whether it's going to be through Facebook ads, sales funnels, cold email, cold calling, the first thing you need to do after you nail down the offer and you have product market fit is to remove yourself from getting booked appointments in your calendar so that you can grow. Hopefully you guys are getting value out of this video. If you are, just smash the like button and hit subscribe so you can see additional videos that I put out just like this every single week. All right, so at this point, I have an absolutely insane offer that my market wants. On top of that, I am having my virtual assistant let every single real estate agent in my market know that I have this offer so she can book appointments on my calendar. And I'm taking those sales calls and I'm doing the fulfillment. And this is where the third step comes in, which is to streamline, automate, and systemize your fulfillment process. So before I was able to actually move to Colombia and work a few hours a week, taking home hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, I still had one more step to really remove me from, and that was going to be from fulfillment. Now, you could argue that sales is also a step you can remove yourself from, but in reality, I knew I always would be selling, and I knew that that was the most profitable thing I could do for my company. So whenever I was working a few hours a week, it was literally just taking sales calls. So even though my company is scaling, and even though we're closing deals every single day, I'm still stuck doing fulfillment for every single person that comes in. I, of course, knew this needed to change, and I had such success with hiring the virtual assistant and outsourcing lead generation there. I thought, well, what if I did the same thing for the fulfillment for my clients that were paying me money to generate them leads and booked appointments? And that's actually exactly what I did. Now, this goes back to what I talked about having a really, really strong niche and a really, really great offer, because it has to be duplicatable. For you to teach something to somebody else, I don't care if they're a Harvard graduate or they're a virtual assistant, they have to be able to understand it, and it has to be copy and paste. Anytime you're doing custom work or you're doing 50 things for one person, you're gonna have to pay more to somebody else to be able to do it, and it's gonna be a lot harder for you to hand it off in the first place. So even up until this point, I was still doing a lot of custom work for these real estate agents. I'd be doing website build outs, managing their social media, posting on their social media, creating new content for them. I would be doing Facebook ads for them. I'd be building sales letters for them. I would be running email campaigns for them. And before I was able to scale, I knew I needed to sit back and identify the 80-20 rule. I need to figure out what was literally the one or two things that was actually bringing closed deals for my real estate agents, and what was just the noise that I was doing for everybody else. And after looking back and speaking to some of my successful clients, what I actually realized was every single lead that we had come in came from a Facebook ad to a lead form to the inner service agent team to my client's calendar. That was absolutely it. There was nothing else involved. There was no social media. They didn't check out the website. Literally, that was every single step in the process. And that was great news to me, because that was the easiest thing to copy and paste. And so that's what I did. I actually changed the standard operating procedure, the SOPs, for when we onboard a client from 4 hours down to literally 10 minutes. And the way that I did it was I took the same campaign that worked for all those clients, and I created a master version of it inside my Facebook ads manager. And then I would just have my virtual assistants, whenever we onboarded a client, all they got from the client was literally the zip code and the email address they wanted the lead sent to. And we would put the zip code inside the Facebook ads business manager. We would duplicate the Facebook ad campaign, and then we would run the same ads with almost always the same images, and just change the title of whatever city was involved in it. So it would just take us a few minutes whenever we closed a client to set their Facebook ad campaign up, get them hooked up to the inner service agent team, and we'd launch their ads within 24 to 48 hours. I documented this entire process through Loom videos and Asana. I gave it to my virtual assistant, and now it was costing me $3 to $4 an hour to fulfill something that somebody was paying me $2,500 a month for. And I continuously optimized that process. I kept on thinking, how can I get less from the clients when they get onboarded, and how could I do more for myself, copy and paste over and over again? And a few other things that we did was that we stopped running ads on our clients' real estate agent pages, because it would take so long for them to give us access, and then something would go wrong. So instead, I just created the Home Buyers of America Facebook page, and I would run every single ad through that page itself. Also, like I said before, anytime I would say, hey, do you have any listing you want to promote? And they say, oh, this listing, or it would take them 7 or 8 days to get it to me. Instead, what I realized is that as long as you just throw some pretty fit photos up on Facebook, people don't actually care about the specific listing until they're much further down in the home buying journey. So I stopped asking them for listings, and instead I just did a list of homes, and I would ask them what's the typical price range of homes in their area, and then I would just throw photos up on there. They had entered in their information, and we said, hey, great, someone will reach out with your custom list of homes for what you requested. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. At that point in my social media marketing agency, I went from literally making only $3,000 in the first 8 months of business to making over $100,000 take home, working only a few hours a week. And that was because I had a absolutely incredible, you can't say no to offer, and I was offering more than other people were offering in that industry, and I was actually charging more for people because of it. Number two, I removed myself from lead generation, so whether I was happy, sad, hungover, excited, I could still have new leads and new booked appointments coming into my agency every single day. And number three, I outsourced and I systemized the fulfillment. I figured out what was the one or two things that was actually driving the needle forward for my clients, and then what I did is I systemized it and I gave it to my virtual assistant so they could do that for me. And I'm not saying that you're gonna copy and follow this exact thing and you're gonna have the same success I did, but try to take maybe one or two different things inside of here, whether you're just starting out or you already have a successful social media marketing agency, and implement that inside of yours so that you can actually make money easier than you're doing right now, and you can actually make more of it. Now, really quickly, if you already have a social media marketing agency or an online company and you do want help growing it, there's gonna be some links in the description down below that you can get access to some training that's going to walk you through exactly how you can do that. And if you want to see some of the email templates and copywriting templates that we've used in that lead generation process to acquire more clients, you can check out the videos on your screen here that walks through that exact process. I'll see you guys in the next video.